Hi, this is Imran Choudhury from the Eastern Eye. Today we're at the Lobo Halal factory in South Bermondsey, London, for a visit by the local MP Simon Hughes.
Well, the first thing is it's great to see a new business which has clearly taken so much care in deciding what it wanted to do and doing it really well. I was on this very site over a year ago, which was a derelict warehouse, and it wasn't obvious what the use would be, and it's clearly been completely refurbished. It is in really good condition, and as befits an industry of dealing with meat and meat products, it is absolutely spotlessly clean, beautifully looked after, and really importantly, doing a job that people want done, which is to buy and sell into the market meat for people's daily food. So it's producing food for people to eat in our communities and producing jobs for people to come and take from this community and further afield. We want more jobs. How do you make more jobs? By producing things, by manufacturing products that the market will buy. And so it's a successful business even in its first year, and I know they have great ambitions to be hugely more successful in the years ahead.
The president of the British Veterinary Association, John Blackwell, he made some comments and he called for the ban of Jewish and Islamic slaughter, religious slaughter, unless more humane methods were adopted. Now, what are your thoughts in this issue? And I know Nick Clegg, the Deputy PM, has spoken about this, and he has kind of said, you know, we're not going to follow the example of Denmark, which has actually banned religious slaughter. What are your views on this?
Well, there's a long tradition in this country, particularly in the Jewish communities, of dealing with animals in their own particular way. It's more recent in the Muslim community in the UK, because obviously the Muslim community has only relatively recently arrived in significant numbers. I don't think there has to be an absolute similarity of practice. It seems to me that provided proper safety and health requirements are met, then cultural traditions should be allowed to be continued. The important thing is that the public know what they're buying, that everything is, as is done here, traced. So from the source of the meat, you can trace exactly where it comes from, which field, which cow, which lorry, which ship, which transporter, which packaging and processing plant, which distributor, which shop. And that's the issue. So if anything goes wrong, as occasionally, very rarely happens, then you know exactly where the problem might have arisen and you can ring fence that. So provided that's done, then I personally, my colleagues as Liberal Democrats, have no problem with people having different practices. But of course, they're subject to the law as a whole, and the law as a whole currently permits them, provided people follow good practice.
I mean, if a country like Denmark has actually banned religious slaughter, there is a view that, you know, Jews and Muslims are increasingly feeling marginalised by the state. Is this, I mean, and such a prominent figure such as John Blackwell from the British Veterinary Association to kind of make these remarks quite concerning, don't you think?
Well, people like the British Veterinary Association representatives, obviously they're entitled to have a view. But it's Parliament that decides these things, and it's the government which decides these things. We live in a multicultural society, and the practice of eating and drinking is often very linked to people's faith practices. In the case of the Quran and the Old Testament, that's where the practice derives from. It's from biblical and Quranic teaching. And that was there for a purpose. Now, we can have a long debate about whether in a relatively cold society or mixed weather society like Britain, you need the same practices for your food as you do in a hot country like in the Middle East, or Israel-Palestine, where Christianity was born, or where Judaism came from, the early countries of the Quran. There may be different arguments, but that's for the faith community to decide. And my understanding is that there's a very good relationship between the Muslim and the Jewish and other communities and the government. This is regularly under debate, but there is no current government plan to make current practices carried out by Muslims or Jews illegal in this country. The Danes are entitled to take a different view. We listen to advice. If there was strong medical and veterinary advice that something should not happen because it is unsafe and nobody would be safe to eat the product, then of course that would be a different situation. But we're not there yet.
Thank you so much for your time, Simon Hughes.